Picture yourself jolted awake in the dead of night by a low rumble, the sky streaked with artificial lightning, and sirens blaring through the streets of Tehran or Tel Aviv. Since June 13, 2025, this nightmare has become reality. What was once a simmering, shadowy conflict between Israel and Iran has erupted into an open, brutal war, with missiles screaming across borders, buildings crumbling, and every passing hour pushing the world closer to the edge. Welcome to a new era of confrontation in the Middle East, where every strike, every counterstrike, is reshaping the future of a region already on a perhaps the entire globe. This isn't just a skirmish. It's a military, diplomatic, and psychological showdown that could change everything for the people of both nations, for the global economy, for geopolitical stability. So grab a seat, take a deep breath, and dive with me into what's happening, why it matters, and what it could mean for all of us. It all kicked off in the dark hours between June 12th and 13th, when 200 Israeli fighter jets roared into the sky, launching a massive assault on strategic targets across Iran, nuclear sites, military bases, Revolutionary Guard headquarters. Nothing was spared in an operation dubbed Lion Rising, a name that screams intent. Israel isn't holding back. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has made it clear the goal is to obliterate what he calls the existential threat of Iran's nuclear program. In Tehran, explosions rock the capital, residential buildings collapse, and families flee in panic. The images are chilling. Plumes of smoke rise over Natanz, a key uranium enrichment site, while in Isfahan, another critical hub, the destruction piles up. But Iran doesn't just sit there. Waves of ballistic missiles and drones rain down on Israel, targeting Tel Aviv, military bases, anything that could hit hard. Israel's cutting-edge defense systems intercept most of the projectiles, but some get through, leaving craters and shattered lives in their wake. Why now? Why has this decades-long tension exploded with such ferocity? The answer lies partly in a strategic gamble. For Israel, Iran is at a tipping point. Israeli intelligence claims Tehran is dangerously close to the point of no return. In its nuclear program, the moment it could assemble a nuclear weapon. Whether true or not, this fear drove Netanyahu to act, and act decisively, by targeting not just nuclear sites but also military infrastructure, generals' homes, and even Iran's state television. Israel is aiming for the regime's heart. The deaths of key figures like Hossein Salami, head of the Revolutionary Guards, and Mohammad Bagheri, Iran's military chief of staff, underscore the scale of the offensive. But this isn't just about missiles and targets. It's a war of nerves, a power struggle where both sides are desperate to prove they can outlast the other. Iran, for its part, is fighting back with equal resolve. Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei has vowed a limitless response, and missile barrages continue, signaling that Iran won't back down. But the damage is uneven. In 3 days, Israel has crippled about a third of Iran's nuclear capabilities. Analysts say, setting the program back months, though not years. Underground sites like Fordo remain untouched, shielded by layers of rock. To destroy those, Israel would need America's bunker-busting GBU-57 bombs, which only US B-2 stealth bombers can deploy. And here's where things get messy. United States, Israel's staunch ally, is staying on the sideline, calling the operation unilateral. Donald Trump, huddled with his national security team, is torn between backing Israel and avoiding a war that could engulf the region. U.S. involvement would change everything, but it could also drag the world into a broader, unpredictable conflict. This isn't just a clash between two nations. It's a crisis that's rattling the global economy. The Strait of Hormuz, through which a third of the world's oil flows, is on edge. If Iran were to block it, a move some call economic suicide, oil prices could soar past $100 a barrel. The Brent crude index has already spiked 6% in a matter of hours. Stock markets are jittery, investors are panicking, and households worldwide could soon feel the pinch at gas pumps or in their energy bills. But that's not all. Iran's allies, like the Houthis in Yemen, could escalate attacks in the Red Sea, further disrupting trade routes. Meanwhile, Russia, quietly backing Iran, could cash in on rising oil prices to fund its war in Ukraine. It's all connected like a giant domino chain, where one falling piece triggers another. On the human level, it's a tragedy unfolding before our eyes. In Tehran, rescue teams dig through rubble searching for survivors. Iran's health ministry reports 224 dead and over 1,000 injured in just days. In Tel Aviv, sirens wail, shelters fill, and the death toll stands at 24. Civilians, as always, bear the brunt. Tehran's streets are eerily empty, except at gas stations where people queue, fearing shortages. Some flee to rural areas, hoping to escape the bombings. In Israel, the population is on high alert, used to sirens, but shaken by the scale of this escalation. Yet amid the chaos, voices rise. In Iran, dissidents like Nobel Peace Prize winners Narges Mohammadi and Shirin Ebadi call for an end to uranium enrichment and hostilities. Arguing this war doesn't serve the Iranian people, others, fueled by nationalist fervor, rally behind the regime, seeing Israel's strikes as an attack on their sovereignty. Politically, it's a high-stakes chess game. Netanyahu, by launching this offensive, aims not only to neutralize Iran, but also to bolster his image at home. Criticized for his handling of conflicts in Gaza and Lebanon, he wants to prove he's a strong leader who can protect Israel. But it's a massive gamble. The strikes strikes fail to fully dismantle Iran's nuclear program, or if civilian casualties mount. He risks losing international and even domestic support. On the other side, Iran's regime, weakened by years of sanctions and public discontent, might use this war to rally its people. A regime change imposed from outside, as Netanyahu might hope, would be a disaster, experts warn. A new government seen as an Israeli puppet would lack legitimacy. Yet the idea of a popular uprising in Iran, fueled by decades of frustration, lingers, even if it feels unlikely for now. Internationally, reactions are a mix of worry and helplessness. France's Emmanuel Macron dismisses Russia's offer to mediate, arguing that Moscow, mired in its own conflict, lacks credibility. China, true to its cautious diplomacy, backs Iran while condemning the use of force. NATO and the EU call for de-escalation, but their words ring hollow against the reality of explosions. And then there's Trump, the wild card who could tip the scales. If he opts for military involvement, the conflict could go global. His track record shows he doesn't like being told what to do, but he also knows Americans, weary of Middle East wars, don't want another quagmire. This conflict is a stark reminder of our world's fragility. We often think of wars as distant events, images on a screen, but their ripples touch us all. When oil prices spike, it's your gas tank that costs more. When trade routes are threatened, it's the prices in your grocery store that climb. When two nations clash, an entire geopolitical balance teeters, with consequences that could last years. And beyond the economics, there's the human toll. Families grieving in Tehran or Tel Aviv, children growing up in fear, dreams shattered by missiles. This conflict shows that war, even thousands of miles away, is never truly far. So, where do we go from here? In the short term, it hinges on Israel's ability to keep up the pressure without getting bogged down, and Iran's capacity to retaliate without sparking an uncontrollable escalation. If Israel's strikes keep hitting strategic targets, they could weaken Iran long term, but at the cost of deeper hatred. If Iran ramps up its attacks, it risks pulling allies, like the Houthis or Hezbollah, into a regional war. Looking further ahead, the implications are even bigger. A delayed but not destroyed Iranian nuclear program could push Tehran to double down. A shaky global economy could stumble under the weight of uncertainty. And politically, leaders on both sides are betting their survival on this battlefield, with their people likely to pay the price for their ambitions. This clash between Israel and Iran isn't just a war at SA test for the world. A test of our ability to avoid escalation, protect civilians, and find solutions before everything collapses. And you, what do you think? Can we still stop this spiral? Or are we already too far gone? Share your thoughts, your ideas, your hopes in the comments, because in a world this connected, every voice matters.